Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Another question that a lot of people ask, and you have also asked, why Quran does not talk about pyramids. They are one of the wonders of the world, and they define the pharaohs of Egypt. So why Quran doesn't talk about such a massive, mighty structure? Now, think about it like this. Scientists and historians and archaeologists are split whether pyramids were really built by pharaohs of Egypt or they themselves might have inherited it. Or there are some theories behind that aliens might have arrived and helped pharaohs build the pyramids. There are different kinds of theories that lurk around the pyramids. And also, the other thing is, pyramid was not the work of one Pharaoh that was at the time of Musa alayhi salam. Rather was the work of, if you consider it to be the work of the pharaohs of Egypt, it was the work of pharaohs of Egypt, not a pharaoh of Egypt. So that's why it was sort of kind of irrelevant to talk about something that is defined by a dynasty. But here we are talking about one individual Pharaoh, which was at the time of Musa alayhi salam. So Quran rather paid more attention to what this particular Pharaoh was most proud of. And what did he think his wealth and his might, what was the real force behind his wealth and might? And of course, if the pyramids were also built by the pharaohs or pharaohs of Egypt, then certainly they needed money to fund that. And where was this money coming from? So let's look at the source. Quran talks about the source that basically made them so arrogant. So Quran talks about in Surah Az-Zukhruf, ayah number 51. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَادَى فِرْعَوْنُ فِي قَوْمِهِ قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ أَلَيْسَ لِي مُلْكُ مِصْرَ. And Pharaoh called upon his people and made an open announcement when Musa alayhi salam approached him and showed him the signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he saw the signs and he still refuted it and he considered it to be a magic. And Musa alayhi salam showed him the signs and he brought magicians to confront Musa alayhi salam. And now he is talking to his people, Ya qawmi, O my people, alaysa li mulku Misra, isn't the Egypt my kingdom? Am I not the ruler of Egypt? وَهَذِهِ الْأَنْهَارُ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِي. Am I not the ruler, the owner, the master of all this water system that runs under me? أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Don't you see my might? Don't you see that I control everything? So he got to a point where he thought that this whole kingdom he is the master of. All of this water system on which their irrigation system was based, their farming system was made, they had this wealth flowing into the country because of their canal system, because of their water system. So he was very proud. He thought that he is the master and doesn't need to bow down or accept any other master. And I'm not saying this. Quran talks about it. And then if you notice Surah Al-Qasas, ayah number 38. وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَأُ. Now he is talking to his chiefs, his ministers, people in his court at high level. And he's telling them, مَا عَلِمْتُ لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرِي. I do not know anybody worthy of worshipping but myself. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So now he is ordering Haman to build a massive tower so that he can go and meet the God of Moses. And we talked about that. Did Pharaoh had any idea of portals? Did Pharaoh had any idea of doorways that could lead him into heavens? We talked about that in a different, in a different lecture, so we'll not talk about it again here. I'm just trying to tell you how he was corrupted up here. He thought whatever he has, he is the master, he is the owner. So he's claiming to be ilah. And he doesn't stop there. If you notice Surah An-Nazi'at, in Surah An-Nazi'at, he makes another claim when Musa alayhi salam comes, فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرى. He saw the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, and he denied them. And then فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. He called upon everyone, فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. Among all the gods that you have, who give you sustenance, I am your greatest Rabb, ma'adallah, astaghfirullah al-azim. So he made the claim that among all the Rabbs, he is the greatest Rabb. He is the most highest Rabb. And he said that I am ilah, and I do not know of any other ilah but myself. So this wealth, this worldly desires got to his head to an extent where he started making those kind of claims. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this several times. And if you notice the story of Musa alayhi salam, water is very important in the story of Musa alayhi salam. Again, if you want to know the details of why water is important and how water is important in the story of Musa alayhi salam, please put it in the comment section down below so that we can make a video of the importance of water in the story of Musa alayhi salam. But let's continue here. And then, after you hear his claims, after you hear what he is most proud of, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show you what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did to him. Whatever made him so proud of himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him to his end using the same object that he was so proud of. What was he so proud of? His water system. Said Musa alayhi salam when he left with Bani Israel, فَأَتْبَعَهُمْ فِرْعَوْنُ بِجُنُودِهِ فَغَشِيَهُمْ مِنَ الْيَمِّ مَا غَشِيَهُمْ. And when he followed Musa alayhi salam, and as you remember that for Musa alayhi salam and his people, the water was parted. And Musa and his people are walking through are walking on the land, and the water is standing here and water is standing there like a wall. And Pharaoh is thinking that, okay, if Moses and his people can go, I can also go and follow them. But when he reaches the point, halfway through, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the waters to be merged back, mix again, and all those walls that are standing fall on him with such a force, and he along all his men are drowning in the water, which is being talked about in great detail in Surah Yunus. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَاوَزْنَا بِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْبَحْرَ فَأَتْبَعَهُمْ فِرْعَوْنُ وَجُنُودُهُ بَغْيًا وَعَدْوًا. That when children of Israel were passing through the waters, Pharaoh and his army followed them, and these people were arrogant. They thought they can get them. حَتَّى إِذَا أَدْرَكَهُ الْغَرْقُ. When he was about to be drowned, he said, آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المسلمين. But it was too late. It was too late, because the punishment had already come on him. If he would have believed prior, because there were at least 9 more opportunities that he was given before this one, and every time he came to Musa alayhi salam and said, okay, I will believe if you can take this away from us. And when it was away from them, he went on the disbelief journey again. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing, knows that when he is saved from here, he will deny again. And then الآن وقد عصيت قبل وكنت من المفسدين. Oh, so you believe now that you're about to die? Why didn't you believe in any of the signs that were shown to you before? You have always been وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. And you have always been among the transgressors. أَنَا وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ قَبْلُ وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. You have always been the transgressor. You have always caused fasad on ard. So now, here, one story that is reported in Tafsir al-Madarik, in Surah Yunus, ayah number 91. Very, very interesting story. That Jibreel alayhi salam once came as a man in the court of Pharaoh and sent in a problem, because you could send in a problem and Pharaoh could solve the problem. And the problem was that, let's say there is a master and there is a slave. The slave is, a master is extremely nice to the slave, and slave is getting taken care of all the time. Over the period of time, the slave gets some blessings, and the slave now become unthankful to the master and completely disregard all the favors that have been done to him. Rather, the slave himself claims to be the master. So the question is, what should be the punishment of such a slave? And Pharaoh wrote a fatwa and said, such a slave must be drowned in waters. So when Pharaoh was drowning, Jibreel alayhi salam brought Pharaoh's fatwa in front of him and showed him, see, you wrote it for yourself what such a slave should be punished as. So why are you now crying? You're getting the taste of your own fruit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says in Surah Yunus, ayah 92, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. That we will let your body be left around so that the people who will come after you can see it as a sign that the one who goes against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is severely punished. Now, another story that is spoke about here in this regard, in ayah number 92, comes in Tafsir Kabir by Imam Razi, and also in Tafsir Khazin, it talks about it, that after Pharaoh died, the children of Israel were still a little bit doubtful. Did the Pharaoh died? He might not have died, because the kind of claims he made, it made him sound like he is so much more powerful than a human being. So Musa alayhi salam then showed them the body of the Pharaoh. That, see, this floating body, that's Pharaoh. He died. He's dead. So that's the sign Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed to the children of Israel right there and then. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِّنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. And several people among the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the humans and the jinns, are among what? They are the ghafilun. They don't consider. They've lost their purpose of existence, and they think that they can do whatever they feel like doing it. Anyway, so the idea is that's why Quran rather talks about what Pharaoh was more proud of, what Pharaoh thought he is master of, than talking about something that is about the legacy of the Fara'in or the pharaohs. So I hope you understood it. And again, the same question back to you. If you want to know about the importance of waters in the story of Musa alayhi salam, please let me know in the comment section below, and then we'll talk about that as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.